Hello, everybody. Sound check, sound check, sound check. Sound check. All right. All right, looks like Steve already has a theme for us for tonight. Hello, Steve. American Princess, Stephanie Ellis, Nicolette Vella, Christopher Dahmer, RJ Kate, Lily White. All good on sound. Thank you, Stephanie. Looking good, looking good. All right, let's give a minute or two for those who are maybe on their way. Star Sourcer in the house. Shout out to Star Sourcer, Stephanie Elizar, RJ Cakes, Lily White, Amy D in the house. All right, we're going to get started at about 8:47, 8:48. Looks like we're still getting a few people in. So excited. So excited for tonight. So excited. We got rainstorms pretty bad in the area I happen to be in at the moment. So you may hear some drip, drop, drip, or you might even hear some thunderstorming behind my head. Good to see you, good to see you. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to give you a little bit of information first, and then I have a few things planned as well as a discussion. Okay, first things first, I will let everyone know that, as usual, the donation information is on the community page. Okay, I don't think I need to post it here. If I do, I'll do it at the end. But the donation information is on the community page. That's where I always post it before the live. Okay. Second of all, thank you very much to everyone who donated or gave likes, shared videos, subscribed, joined as a member. I appreciate each and every one of you. I want to say thank you to everybody, but I want to give a special thank you to my members. So let's do that next. All right, you'll notice a change in screen in about a minute or two. It takes a minute to catch up. Uh-oh, it's backwards. I'm not sure how to reverse it. Okay, well, we're going to have to celebrate backwards. I don't know how I did it, but I flipped it backwards. we'll have to read the names of the members backwards. It's going to be a great night. What do you call it when people see things backwards? Dyslexic? Okay, just pretend that you're dyslexic for like a minute so we can give a shout out to our members: Robin Latham, Star Sorcerer, Audrey Cates, Denny, Stephanie Elazar, Lori L.A. Northrop, Just Here for the Tea, Sudi Vaychek, Agape Love, trying to read backwards, Amy D, and I'm missing somebody. Who am I missing? Just Here for the Tea, Sudi, Robin, I got Stephanie. Oh, B. Franklin is who I'm missing. All right, shout out to B. Franklin with the interesting name, you understand. All right, these are our members. A special thank you. I'm so sorry that I flipped the screen. You know, if there's a way to mess up the technology, I'll find it. And so I'm going to take this down, but I really want to say how much I appreciate it and encourage others who really enjoy the channel to consider a membership. Okay, there are 3 different levels, and the perks will get better and better. All right? All right. I've got one more order of business with this. All right. Much love to you all. I especially appreciate those who actually, invest, because I know, finances are a challenge for most people. So I appreciate every cent that's been invested in the channel. I thank you for that. All right. This is the spin your wheel. You should be able to see it in about a minute. And we're going to spin the wheel for a gift card for one of our members. You should be able to see it on your screen in just a minute. Everybody on this wheel is not here tonight. So if somebody wins that's not here, we'll just word of mouth say, hey, you need to give the Hard Truth your email. Because the winner will just email me and we'll go from there with getting you your prize. All right? So, are y'all ready for the spin? Are we ready for the spin? All right, I'm getting ready to make it a little bigger so maybe you can see. I don't know if you can see the wheel, see the names. Make it a little bigger. Okay. Can you see the names? Can you all see the names on the wheel? Can y'all see the names on the wheel? Somebody tell me. Oh, okay, y'all are ready. Okay, all right. Drum roll, please. Dun, 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 dun. Here's the spin. And there it goes. The winner is Stephanie Elazar. All right. Go, Stephanie. Go, Stephanie. Go, Stephanie. Go, Stephanie. Okay, make sure you give me your email. Send your email to my email, which is, what is the email? The Hard Truth Subtalk@gmail.com. Stephanie, please send your email information to me so that you can claim your prize. And I'm not sure if my screen is ahead of you guys' screen, so I'm leaving it up there for a minute so you can actually see what happened. All right. All right, woohoo. So that is a $10 gift card to Stephanie Elazar, who will be sending her email to me so that she can receive a digital card to say thank you to my members and also to my potential members for sticking by the channel. All right, moving on. Let's see. I have to give you guys a choice. I have to give you guys a choice between a game that we can play now or starting the discussion. We can do discussion first and the game at the end, or we can play the game now and do the discussion on the Idaho 4 case at the end. So let's have a quick vote. Let's have a quick vote. Shout out to Stephanie. Okay, my screen seems a little frozen here. Okay, there it goes. All right, congratulations, Stephanie. And what do y'all want to do now? Do you want to play the game or do you want to start the discussion on the Idaho 4 and do the game at the end for people who don't want to play? That's right, Stephanie. You're the winner tonight. Okay, and we're going to have another winner in our during our game. Now, we can start our discussion now or we can start our game. Game at the end. Kate here. Game last. 2 for game last and on 1 for game now. Game first. I was thinking it was me, Renee. Okay, we got game at the end, game last, game first, game last. I think we got 3 game last and 2 game first. Or last first, last first. Last. I believe it's last. I believe everybody's saying last. Okay, so we're going to put the game at the end and start the discussion. All right, okay. We're gonna go with the vote. The vote said the vote said the game last. So that's what we'll do. All right, so let's start our discussion. And at first, I would like to say hello to some people that are just coming in. I see Nicolette, Vella, shout out to Nicolette, Alicia Mary Lee Richardson. All right. Micah Z slid in the house. All right. Welcome. All right. I'm going to start the discussion. Let me load my screen, please. And I'm going to start it off. Steve said we need to talk about who actually killed those kids. Let's see what his first post was. He said, why were these people killed? Okay, so we put a pin in that because we're going to get to it. The first thing we're going to talk about right now, before why, is how. Okay? The screen should be changing. Micah Z, hello Heart Truth, very new to your channel. Okay, let's all welcome Micah Z. Welcome. I feel like singing a birthday song. It's not even your birthday. All right, Micah. Everybody welcome Micah Z. Micah Z. Okay. Bring this up. So glad to have you. All right, and feel free to post. All right. Okay, as you can see on the screen, the first thing we're going to talk about is this knife sheath, because according to the new documentation, the knife sheath was found upside down under Maddie and Kaylee. And I got a half of a bombshell about that. We're talking about the knife sheath, and I'm going to put this in the chat. So we all agree on what we're talking about here. We're on the how right now, and Steve said we need to talk about the why. All right. And it was face down, according to the documentation. I'm not going to spend time loading that up, or it's just going to take up time that I don't have tonight. All right, so the knife sheath, according to the new information, Star Saucer, don't be a spoiler. That's coming next. I didn't want it in there. You're 2 laps ahead of me. Spoiler alert. No. Don't do it to me. Spoiler alert. All right, so I want to just do this part first, and then we'll go to that part, Star Saucer. We're going to treat that separate, okay? That was half of my bombshell. Now, there's only 2 ways that somebody can come into a room and leave a knife sheath. Either they left it on purpose or they did it accidentally. Can we agree on that? Because we're going to treat these separately. Now, if they left it on purpose, they could have done it at any time. They could have left it anywhere in the room they wanted to. All right? If they left it on purpose, they could have left it at any time. They could have killed 2 of the kids or committed homicide upstairs, then went downstairs, then came back upstairs and left it. And the truth of the matter is, and some are not going to like this, the law enforcement could have left it the next day. It could have been left at any time if it was left on purpose. All right? So we need to highlight the fact that the sheath could have been left at any time, any day. It could have been the 14th to 15th. And they didn't start looking for a sheath until in the neighborhood, going around stores and stuff, They didn't start that until 2 days after the crime. So that knife sheath could have been left there the 13th, the 14th, or the 15th. It could have been put in the room at any time, whether it was face up or face down. So the sky's the limit if it was left there on purpose. All right, okay, and Nicolette, shout out to Nicolette. Okay, in this chat, instead of saying this officer's name that Nicolette has, we use Opie, his initials, O for officer, P for what? So we use Opie instead of his name for legal reasons. We don't want to call any officers by their actual name here unless we have to, or we're being very selective over what we say. But since we use his name so much, we gave him a nickname so that, to protect ourselves legally. There it is. Shout out to Nicolette for being on point, nice and alert, and ready to run the conversation if I pass out. All right, so listen, that's on purpose. Anybody could have left it, but like I said months ago, if the sheath was left anytime after the 13th, Certain people could not go back in that house. All right? Only certain people could have went back in that house after the detectives got there at 4:30. Really, after the police got there from the 911 call. After that 911 call, no one else could enter the house. I'm putting that in the chat. Only law enforcement could enter the house after 11:58. So if it was left on purpose after November the 13th, it had to be law enforcement. Can we agree on that? After 11:58, once the police were involved, only law enforcement could enter the crime scene. That's it. The frat kids and the sorority kids and people in the neighborhood that just want to see what happened, the chief had to be left by law enforcement if it wasn't there on the 13th. I've argued that it wasn't there on the 13th, but I don't have enough to say 100%. I would say maybe I'm about 80% sure that it was left after the 13th, but I still got 20% there. Okay, we got Kathy Jean. It could have been left on Halloween. Love your show. Shout out to Kathy Jean. Much love. Shout out to Lycurgus. Hello to you too. All right. Renee Phillips. Yes, she's on the mic. All right. Shout out to Renee. Gotta do that. Gotta do that. Gotta give a shout out to Renee. Welcome, Lycurgus. Welcome. All right. Well, oh, okay. Now let's see. Oh, we got some intelligence, some new intelligence in here now. All right. Welcome, Kathy and Lycurgus or Lycurgus. Okay, I'm not gonna mess it up. I'm not gonna murder it. All right. Now that's assuming that the knife was left on purpose. If it was left on purpose after the 13th, it's law enforcement. If it was actually there on the 13th, it could be law enforcement or whoever was in that house before they called 911. It could be anybody. Absolutely anybody. Now let's go to if they left it accidentally, because that's very interesting. There's only two ways that the person that left the sheet, because we're assuming this was the only person assaulting people in the house. This is only one person. It could have been multiple people in there. How many people left the sheets? One person went there and stuck it under there? All right, so if it was left by accident, that could only happen two ways. Either it was dropped during the commission of the crime, or it came off the belt. Now let's talk about this, because one of them doesn't make any sense. Now, if the person dropped it accidentally, this is somebody that's part of the crime. This is one of the perpetrators. If it was dropped accidentally, it was one of the perpetrators. Okay, whoever did it was involved in the crime. We have to say that. Lori Ingram, shout out to Lori I. What? Lori in the house. That's why I said it was after the 13th. Because all through the PCA, it says later we saw the sheet. Later we saw the sheet. So who put this sheet there? Micah Z, definitely not dropped off the belt. Shout out to Micah, because that's true. It's ridiculous. And 9 times out of 10, if it dropped off the belt, it probably would have ended up on the floor unless the killer was on the bed straddling the girls, which he couldn't have straddled both of them. I don't know. I'm trying to speculate. But I would think that it would have fell on the floor. How many unalivers, how many unalivers use a sheath? Shout out to Nicolette again. I mean, who came in there with a sheath on their hip saying, oh, I'm getting ready to do a quadruple murder? I'm so organized mentally. Stephanie, but if it came off the belt, it still seems the DNA would be on some of the rest of the sheet. Shout out to Stephanie. Because she just cracked it wide open. If it fell off, then the person that was using, the owner of it, wasn't being careful about DNA because he didn't plan to leave it. It wasn't fingerprint and DNA. I mean, it wasn't. Oh, Jennifer S. Shout out to Jennifer S. Jennifer S. in the house. We got to shout out to Jennifer S. If it was worn by the perpetrator, she did not know how to properly wear one. And Jennifer S. is calling the perpetrator a she. Get down, Jennifer. Yes. Yep. It fell off because it was too big for her, wasn't it, Jennifer? You see? You see? Now, it didn't have any blood on it, amazingly. Shout out to Kathy Jean. It didn't have any blood on it. The dog didn't either. What's up with that? That's very selective. All right? It had to be carefully planted for no blood to be all over it. Let's go back to this point I just made, though. Shout out to Kimberly Walker. Hey, Kim. Kimberly Walker in the house. Yep, that's right. All right, listen. Let's go back to what I said because I'm not hearing too much feedback. If the killer came in with a knife sheath and accidentally left the knife sheath, that means it would have had DNA all over it because they weren't expecting to leave it. All right, Nicolette Vella, a bed alone would have the touch DNA of everyone in that bed. Exactly. Shout out to Nicolette. It's true. We can derive a lot from just that one ridiculous statement because we know that if somebody accidentally leaves a sheath somewhere, they weren't somewhere wiping their fingerprints off it or their DNA because they didn't mean to leave it. So maybe only having one touch DNA on there means that they meant to leave it. They just didn't wipe it off good. The whole thing is dirty. Every department handling everything in this mess. What exactly do you think is all being hidden? The apocalypse. Oh, the apocalypse in the house. Shout out to Apocalypse. We have to. Well, for that matter, look at how the DNA on the sheep was handled. I mean, they fumbled the ball just passing it around. We got one little specimen of touch DNA, and it's been through 3 different hands and back to Idaho. I wouldn't bring it to court either. I'll be the laughing stock. Steve Callan in the house. Steve in Apocalypse. Shout out to Steve. Thank you, Steve, for starting us off. I forgot to give you a shout out for that. Or maybe I did it already. You know, I can't remember. Now listen. That's just ridiculous. Whoever put it there, maybe they were wiping everything off. But like I said, that DNA has been to Howard Bloom only told part of it. He could have been dirty and told the whole thing. Or maybe he did tell the whole thing and everything else is just a lie. It's made up. It's just a lie. It's made up. Howard Bloom busted him out and let us know, hey, that DNA been somewhere everywhere. That DNA been somewhere everywhere. And so come to find out, everybody was clutching their pearls when Bloom said the DNA has been to a Texas lab. Everybody was clutching their pearls. And then come to find out it left Texas and went to the FBI. It went from Texas to the FBI. The FBI gave him a tip and sent it back to Idaho. with no records or documentation, just a tip over the phone. Come on now. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's absurd. Just like Elton John said, it's becoming more and more absurd. It's a sad, sad situation. And it's becoming more and more absurd. That's Elton John classic right there. They're not going to get them all. Some are embedded still in military and government. Kimberly Walker, with no contamination on a speck. Come on, man. Licurgus. Miss Potts, sorry, I'm late teach. Oh, Miss Potts in the house. Oh, God. Get ready to try to take over the brains. Shout out to Miss Potts. Oh, let's get ready to heat up. Jennifer S. And if found face down, how did that small amount of DNA not get on the cover of Comforter? All right, let's get to the Comforter because y'all are spoiling it. Let's go on and get to the Comforter. Because on top of what we've already deduced, all right, what we've already deduced, the Comforter makes it even worse. Okay, because what does that tell us? That the Comforter was still on the bed after the attack. I'm gonna put that in the chat and see who gets a brain. What does this mean? What does this tell us? What does this tell us? Unbelievable. The Comforter is still on the bed after the attack. Now listen. The coroner said that the Idaho 4 passed in their sleep. And the Comforter is still on the bed. Then we heard something about Kaylee was fighting back. Am I the only person that heard that Kaylee fought back? This sheet that went across the country. Don't start me back up. Shout out to Jennifer S. Don't start me. Don't start me back on that. Listen. Let me say that again, because people coming in, they might not, maybe they did, I don't know. I guess everybody heard it. The DNA, Howard Bloom told us that DNA has been to Texas. And I was clutching my pearls when he said that, because clearly in the PCA, it says everything was done at Idaho State Lab. So if everything was done at the monkeypox lab, then how does Howard Bloom come out and say, hey, wait a minute. You know why Howard Bloom came out and said that? Because they didn't pay him. They promised him something, and they didn't pay him, so he went ahead and dropped the story and got paid by somebody else. See, you got to pay people to keep their mouth shut. You have to pay people to keep their mouth shut. You have to. And so guess what? Okay, who we got here? Love MJ2 on Moscow PD site still says they were sleeping. Why not correct? All right, shout out to Love MJ2. I'm sorry, I didn't see it. Love MJ2. Okay, I'll answer that quickly. It says they were sleeping. Somebody said Kaylee was awake and fought back. I don't know if it was Mr. G. Oh, I know what they said. They said Kaylee's wounds were worse than Maddie's. That's why they felt like Kaylee fought back. But it didn't necessarily say fought back. It said her wounds were worse than Maddie's. But the comforter was still on the bed. All right, what's going on? Talk to me. Shout out to Carly Miles. Shout out to Carly Miles. Welcome, Miss Lady. Alicia Mary Lee Richardson. Where's Carly? Pay people to keep their mouth shut. That's right. You have to pay people. They don't just keep their mouth shut because they're your friend. If it's something in it for them, you might as well get ready for it to be published in the newspaper. Okay? Because the comforter was still on the bed. So it couldn't have been, and we saw Xana's bed on the back of the truck. We saw Xana's bed on the back of the truck. And so they're telling us that the comforter was still on the bed with Maddie and Kaylee. That's crazy. So are they going to convict for having bushy eyebrows? It is true he's only 28. It would take a lot for one person to overpower 4 young individuals. Maddie was probably passed out. All right. That was Kathy G. Shout out to Kathy. Kaylee's liver and kidneys, I believe, were sliced. Yeah, they said that was Nicolette. They said that Kaylee's wounds were worse than Maddie's. The sheath was under Maddie, they saying. Hard truth, it was also confirmed more than one victim had defensive wounds. Right. More than one fought back. Right. Where's the DNA from the victims with defensive wounds? Surely there is some on one of them. All right, shout out to Miss Potts. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Listen to me. This is the point I'm making. You tell me if you agree. What I'm saying is the comforter was still on the bed. And they saying that the sheath was under Maddie. So we know Maddie was in her bed. According to them now, Maddie was in her bed with the comforter on the bed, with the sheath under her body a little bit. Now, Kaylee had defensive wounds. So if Kaylee was fighting while she was in the bed, no, they could have put her on top of Maddie. She didn't necessarily have to die in that bed. I don't believe she did. Because if she had defensive wounds and was fighting, she wasn't just laying down sleeping. And so I don't believe if he had to fight with Kaylee, that comforter would have just been there like that. I don't believe Kaylee was in the bed fighting him or her or him or they. I believe Kaylee was standing up fighting. Yeah. Mr. G said she fought. Just like they talking about Xana fought, Mr. G said his daughter fought. And a couple of news places reported that before he said it. How is the comforter still on the bed with the knife sheath tucked under it, all nice and neat? And this girl is in there fighting for her life in that little bitty room. It's tiny. As soon as you open the door to Maddie's room, bam, there's the bed. So how could the comforter still be on the bed intact? The knife sheath is sitting there nice and neat up under Maddie. Okay, maybe she was laying down and he got to her first. But Kaylee fought. So how was the comforter still nice and neat on the bed if Kaylee was in the bed with Maddie and Kaylee fought? That little bitty bed. Let me find, I should have went and found this video. Let me find this screenshot. I think you need to see it because this other one that I have up, it's not the one that I made. And so let me show you what I mean. This might be the wrong one, but just give me 1 second to change my screen. I'm listening to you. I'm just looking for a screenshot here right quick. Let me see what y'all are talking about. All right. Steve also said they didn't have to go upstairs. Was that meaning Xana and Ethan were targeted? Okay, shout out to Nicolette. He was saying, hey, they didn't have to kill everybody like that. They didn't have to go up there to Maddie and Kaylee's room, but they did. So they meant to kill those two. Whether it was a sheaf there or not, they meant to kill all four of them, if you ask me. Then Kaylee compared to gouging wounds to Idaho for abdomens, etc. Kimberly Walker. I think they were moved from where they were originally. That's how the bed could still be made. Shout out to Audrey Case. Audrey, you got the first brain. Yeah. How in the world is a sheet, a comforter still on the bed? Okay, come on now. Something is not right. Something is not right. How is the comforter still nice and neat on the bed and the night sheet is up there mixed in to the comforter and this little bitty room and you got at least one of them fighting back. And then she just happened to be back in the bed with Maddie. That had to be staged. How is the comforter still on the bed? The night sheet is right there under there. Under Maddie partially is what they said. Miss Potts, the defense has all the crime scene photos and 3D scans. I can almost guarantee the two girls were found with their shoes still on and not tucked in bed asleep, and the defense knows it. Shout out to Miss Potts. How in the world is a comforter still on the bed, nice and neat, and then she's on top, she's in the bed, in this little bitty bed with Maddie, while the dog is next door with the door shut. I mean, don't you pushing it, telling us this right here. You pushing it. You're pushing it, telling us this foolishness. All right, Jetta from Texas. Shout out to Jetta from Texas. Now, Jetta said, Micah, I think he put in sheath, then put on gloves. That's why only Snap has DNA and not all of the sheath. I think the DNA belonged to whoever accidentally left it trying to plant that sheath. That's who DNA it is. And they putting it on Brian Kohberger. I believe if it's Amy D. new dot drop, defense wants hearing sooner, possibly Friday. That's right. Shout out to Amy D for giving us the update. They need to. Yeah, because they know this is over with. They know it's over with. I can see it myself. When I read the new document, I was like, well, he's going home. He's going home. Does anyone believe Dylan's story? Love MJ too. No, I don't. I believe the police had it all typed out and she signed it. She probably didn't even read it. She didn't know what she said until she watched the news. Carly Miles. Were they face to face like some of their photos? Shout out to Carly. Yeah. Because then you know they were posed. You know it was some sick stuff going on. Some sick stuff was going on. That's what was going on. And whoever left the sheath, that's their DNA on it. And since they sent it to the Idaho lab and there was no hit, it's because the person didn't have a criminal background, criminal history, because it's law enforcement. That's why. The DNA, if it's DNA on that sheath, it belongs to somebody in law enforcement. And they just put this tree together and put it on Brian Kohberger. But I believe if it's DNA on that sheep, it belongs to whoever left it, whoever planted it. That's who I believe it belongs to. And we're not going to spend all night on this sheep. I just want to show you one other picture. But I might not be able to find it real quick. I'm supposed to be looking for it. I got a lot spinning here. Trying to learn how to use it. I think I found it. Maybe. Oh, no, I didn't. I think it's the next one. It is. Okay. I'm coming. I'm trying to pull up the right one. I should have had it already, but I just got this idea. Does anyone believe they think we're stupid? I said that, Miss Potts. I told you. We get ready to go into the documents in 1 minute. Just let me show you what I'm talking about, and then we'll move on. I'm loading it right now. Just let me show you what I'm talking about. We'll move on to the documents. We get ready to move on. I know you want to see it, but I got to show you this first. All right. It take a minute to load on the screen. All right, there's that. Let me go back. Okay, this is the last thing I'm going to show you, and then we'll go on to the documents. We'll go on to the documents. Maddie had a very small room, so that sheet placement had to be done. Nicoletta Vella, let me shout out to Nicolette. I'm just trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you. It's just the truth. All right. I agree. I don't think the DNA is Brian's. If not, that's exculpatory evidence. That's exactly what it is, Lori. Shout out to Lori Ingram. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. Now, let me find the picture. Here it is, right here. Now, I had this in my second I Know Who Did It video. Take a look at this. And then we'll move on to the documents. I just loaded it. Give it a minute. DoorDash was likely the delivery of the sheep. It's possible. Shout out to Miss Potts. It's hey, anything's possible. They could have brought that in if it was there on the 13th. They could have brought that in. I remember in the beginning seeing a pic of Diem and her dad and him saying he would do what it takes for his daughter. Yeah, we saw that, Micah. Shout out to Micah Z. Yeah, we saw that. We saw that. Shout out to Micah. Very well could be, Miss Potts. Okay, did the picture load? I think we need to do this first. I really do. I think we need to. All right, I see it. Okay, now you can see from this picture that Maddie's room is tiny. When you open the door, there's the bed. It's a twin bed. It's very, 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 very small. And so when you open the door, if you look right here at the opening of the door, as soon as you step in, that's where the sheath would be. Exactly right there. When you open that door, that's exactly where you'll be. Right there. Where the bed is, that's where the sheath would have to be, according to the PCA. On that side, because in the first PCA, they said it was the side closest to the door. They said it was the side closest to the door. And now they're telling us the comforter was still on the bed. Oh, Stephanie gifted a Heart Truth membership. Shout out to Stephanie. Thank you so much. Shout out to Stephanie. Stephanie Elazar, much love to you for gifting a membership to Kelly. All right. Congratulations to Kelly. Thank you so much. New member, new member. Leslie, that's me. If they felt like they were in danger, that could have gone out the window or the sliding door or the third floor out onto the deck. Shout out to Leslie, that's me. You see how small this bed is? You see how small that room is? That's a twin bed, a small twin. Not a full twin, a small twin. That's a very small space right there. Because Maddie is a very small person. So, I mean, she didn't need a bed bigger than that because she's tiny. Very petite. So, I mean, this bed is tiny. And they're telling us there were 2 bodies in this bed with a knife right there, a sheath as soon as you walk in the door. Well, it had to be on top of the comforter for them to see it. They said it was partially under Maddie's body. And some of it, I guess some of it was covered by the comforter or whatever. But for the comforter to still be on the bed in a small room like that, it didn't too much jump off. Either that or they made it back up. Or it jumped off somewhere else and they brought him up there and put him in the bed. Because in that small space, you can't tell me somebody was fighting for their life from a knife and the comforter still on the bed. David Stamler, shout out to David. It's very strange for a college student to be sleeping in a twin bed. You think so, David? That might be all they can afford. I don't know, David. It might be all they can afford, but then somebody told me she had 2 beds in there. Lined up, back to back, head to head. Shout out to David Stamler. Welcome. Over the years, 1122 King Road was passed around, sold for $10. This was a drug house. Kaylee had moved in August. I think if you lived there, you were expected to sell. Kaylee didn't want that. Drug related. That's Kathy G. Shout out to Kathy G. What do y'all think about that? The house does have a rough history, but he had it advertised for $2,000 some. And from what I could pick up from my research, it's been rented out quite a few times. A lot of people have lived there. It has a long history of tenants, male and female. Alicia Mary Lee Richardson. Yes, Miss Potts. Audrey Case. Miss Potts must be a Idaho thing. Jetta from Texas. One came in balcony, one in patio. Both went out the same way as possible. Especially if they were making a snuff film, one had to come in the balcony. You know that it wouldn't even be a good movie unless they did something like that. That might be one reason why they filmed from the back, so that they could do the balcony scene. Shout out to Jetta from Texas. Absolutely. All right, I want to switch over to some documents here. I see a few more comments I'll read, and then we'll move on. I'm going to go ahead and change my screen, and then I'll take a few more comments. All right, this is where we're going next. All right, Kathy Jean. Spare room was probably where it was stashed, so no one living there had to keep it in their room. Oh, we're talking about the drug scene. It was all that would fit in the room. Shout out to Nicolette and Kathy Jean. All right, thank you for that. Thank you. Leslie, that's me. I think the bodies were moved. I think they were all killed on the second floor. And you know, that's possible because first of all, the comforter threw me off because I really was buying that Maddie and Kaylee were both, attacked in Maddie's room. Okay? But then we see blood on the cabinets. If there was blood on the cabinets, then there might have been blood, in Kaylee's room that got cleaned up. The dog could have got cleaned up. For all we know, they could have gave the dog a bath in all the hours it took for 911. They might have forgot all about Murphy. And he did have blood on him. But they just gave him a bath and locked him in the room. He could have been in there in all the action. Or he could have been somewhere with something over his mouth or tied up or whatever. But just because he was clean in the room doesn't mean he wasn't in the crime scene. Because they had time to bathe that dog. They had too much time to bathe him. Sleuthy Goosey in the house. Welcome. We are honored. Sleuthy Goosey. They could have not been lying side by side, but the comforter thing is weird. Shout out to Sleuthy Goosey. Because guess what? The comforter thing is very weird. It threw me off. When I read that, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. To me, that means something about Maddie's room and these two bodies and a sheet stuck up under Maddie and between her and the comforter still on the bed in this tiny room. It's ludicrous. It's too much. A 3-story house and all of this is piled up in Maddie's little room. There probably was a blood trail, Kathy. They had plenty of time to clean up. They had time to go and get a carpet cleaner and bring it back. If these things happened 3 o'clock in the morning and the police were called at 12, the sky's the limit. Linda Gillian. Shout out to Linda G. Who's to say? Who's to say? There was blood. It was all over the kitchen cabinets. If those pictures are authentic, and I can't say that they aren't. Because people do doctor stuff. But I can't say that but if it's legitimate, it supports the fact that a lot went on in that house. A lot was cleaned up. And we just getting 30% of what actually happened. Melinda DeVoe. Shout out to Melinda T. It's a sad, sad situation indeed. This Elton John up is getting more and more absurd. Shout out to Elton John. All right. Rest in peace. Is Elton John still living? Ray Annette P. Shout out to Ray Annette. Annette P. Ray. Let's shout out. We got a good crowd here tonight, people. I definitely wasn't expecting the comforter, and if he would have covered them up after to try to delay it being noticed, they were stabbed, then he would have seen and grabbed the sheath. So that's out. All right, let's get Sleuthie a brain. Coming in here taking over. This is just common sense stuff right here that we can't dispute about somebody leaving a sheet. I showed y'all the size of the sheet. I showed you that. That sheet is as long or a little longer than a ruler. It's not just some little play, something out of the store. It's sizable. And for it to be wedged under somebody's body, how does that happen? Did she fall on it? If she was asleep, how did she fall on it? It had to be pushed up under her. She was asleep and the comforter still on her. It's pushed up under her. Who did that? Yes, they spent an awful long time in a room. Dylan claimed to be pitch black, but would have been lit up as always. David, I said that from day one. No way one person did this. Agreed. Tell it to Ellie. But we are all supposed to believe one man BK did all that in a few minutes. Right. Shout out to Tell It. We don't believe it. I don't. Shout out to Tell It. Because we know, things need to add up. Things need to add up. And one person going in there in 8 or 9 minutes and doing all of this is just not feasible unless that person is trained in co-op, psych ops, and had military training, police training. ROTC in high school, that's not going to get it. For somebody to go in somebody's house, in a split level house where you got to run up and down the stairs and kill 4 people, and one of them is a guy that's over 6 feet. That's not going to get it, saying somebody was an ROTC. That's just ridiculous. What did Fry mean when he said it was a series of events, fighting defensively and bodies move? Chaos. Shout out to Audrey. He did say it was a series of events. And he's telling us a lot went on in there, but how does he know? A lot did go on in there. It did. But guess what? We have to move on because it's already going on 10 o'clock and we're still on this same topic, y'all. All right, let's go on to what I have on the screen, talking about the genetic genealogy. We get ready to change hats. All right, we're going on to genealogy now. I think we got a lot of good conversation about the sheath, the knife, the comforter, okay? And it's getting less and less likely. I think the new PCA information made it worse because if we didn't understand it before or didn't believe it before, it's worse now. They shouldn't have put that in there, talking about a comforter. Levlo Louis. This new DNA info is basically the same info, just dressed up in a fancy 50-cent word. Exactly. Shout out to Lou. I think it's Louie. I'm trying. Shout out and welcome. All right. It's the same story, dressed up just like Louis said. It's just dressed up with some more stuff they can't prove. Stephanie, exactly. Sleuthie, it sounds more like she had, hold on, the sheath and knife. What happened to, hold on. Well, I missed my place. Oh, okay. It sounds more like she had the sheath knife in her bed and went to use the knife as protection, and the killer took it and used it against them. You know, this is a strong possibility. This is a theory I haven't heard. You got another brain, Sloopy. Did y'all hear that? The knife sheath belonged to Kaylee or Maddie. They got it for protection, and the killer used it on them. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. That's a brilliant theory. Absolutely brilliant. We didn't even think of that. Assuming the knife sheath was there on the 13th now, and it had to belong to somebody, that is outside of this, what they tell us about Brian Kohberger. It could have very well been one of the girls, especially if it was a drug house, or somebody could have left it over there. They come over there all the time to buy drugs or sell drugs. Jennifer S., if the sheath was between Maddie or under Maddie, how did the coroner not see it when she checked for pulses? You have to maneuver them somehow, in my opinion. Shout out to Jennifer S. The coroner, that's just a whole different story right there. I mean, that's just ridiculous. To just get there at 5:30, give the time of death as the 911 call. I could have done that. You don't need certification to do something like that. To show up at 5:30 and say the time of death was when they called 911. Anybody, my son could have done that. One of my sons could have done that. I'm just saying, this is ridiculous. The coroner said they were sleeping in their beds. But we know we had two that fought. Xana, and then I don't know if they got Ethan quick or if Ethan fought, because I doubt he was sitting there twiddling his thumbs. At some point, he had to realize what was going on. All right? We're going to have to get off of this, though, because we got some stuff to talk about. We have to be up to date on these documents. All right, I'm moving on. Let me see if I need to give a shout out. Who did I give one to last? Me, full genealogy match from trash to sheet in 24 hours, cross country. Right. Shout out. Like Hergus. Shout out. That's right. Because that DNA been handled so many times. They shouldn't have put that in the new one either. It's been to Texas. It's been to the FBI. It's been the Idaho lab, Texas, FBI, back to Idaho. It doesn't take a rocket science to figure out that DNA was useless. And they were trying real hard to make a play out of it. That DNA lead was useless. DNA on the sheath is dead. It's dead, y'all. The DNA on the sheath is dead. They pass it around like a football from Texas to FBI back to Idaho. It's been passed around 3 or 4 times. Okay? Just clumsily managing evidence. It's been handled, and it's only touch DNA. So touch DNA, it wasn't a whole lot of specimen to begin with. And you telling me you let three different places put the greasy hands on it, and now it's back in Idaho, and whatever results are presented in court, if any, they're going to say it came from Idaho because this is the last place it ended up. I think Opie was telling the truth when he said IGG pointed us towards the path we took, because he's the IGG. He didn't get it from anybody else. All right? I'm just saying that DNA's been somewhere everywhere. That lets you know it's a flop. that it's something they were trying to make something out of. Okay, they have the sheep at the scene. They got people believing that. So now we can get them to believe it was some DNA on it. Because just to say that it was a sheep there was a stretch from day one. People were scratching their heads saying, who was dumb enough to do that? And once they had everybody conditioned to believe the sheep was there, now all of a sudden it's DNA on the sheep. Even Mr. G said, I knew about the sheep, but I didn't know about the DNA. That's in one of my videos. I gotta find it. One of the ones where Mr. G and his wife are talking. It's in the news. The news interviewed them. And she said, Mr. G said he didn't know about the DNA. He knew about the sheep. So the DNA being passed all over the country is evidence right there that it was a flop, a no-go, a zero. Okay? It's dead. Just like when a football goes out of bounds. It's dead. It's nothing. No, they're not going to get anything out of it. They're not bringing it to court because if they do, they're going to be the laughing stock of the law enforcement community trying to bring that DNA evidence in there. Because of how many people have touched it and laughed. You already got one person that told on you, Howard Bloom. All they need is a few more dollars out there on the street and somebody else is going to tell on you. You know where the IGG came from? You know where all this stuff was done? Some FBI friend that Opie knows, Opie and his gang, they had a friend in the FBI. Okay? They had the IGG. He did that in the trunk of his car, a kit he got. The same mess online that we use, he used. He was in his car. He had it set up in the trunk of his car doing it. Or what the British would call in his boot. He wasn't even in the FBI building doing this work and research for Opie. He was doing it out of his car. And then he called on the phone and gave him some information. That's as far as that got. That's as far as that got. I'm sorry to tell you. I hate to break the news. I hate to break the news, but that's as deep as that generational stuff. Some FBI person looked it up. A couple of them maybe, and did a little research, called him and said, well, this is where you could go. The FBI probably didn't give him Kohberger's name. It said the IGG pointed him in his direction, not the FBI. You have to be careful with words. The IGG did it, not the FBI. The FBI did not give Moscow Kohberger's name. I don't understand why we even bothering with this new document because it's so misleading. All right, look on here on the screen. It says, in regard to the defense request for genetic genealogy testing and search, the state objects and intends to separately file a motion and remand and motion for protective order under ICR 16.1. We already been through that in my DNA is Dead videos. If you haven't watched them, please take the time to watch the DNA is Dead part 1 and 2. And then you will get the full definition of these ICR claims. Okay, all of them. As will be more fully detailed in said motion, the state believes the defendant's requested discovery is outside the scope of ICR 16. Indeed, it is not. It's well within the scope of ICR 16. But you have to go to my DNA is Dead videos to see a complete explanation. It does not tend to negate the guilt of the accused as the offense charged or tend to reduce punishment for the offenses as contemplated by ICR 16A. It is not relevant. This is the most ridiculous part of the whole situation. If it's not relevant, why did you do it? If the genealogy testing was not relevant, it's not relevant, why did you do it? If it's not enough evidence to create, to prove guilt of Brian Kohberger, why did you do it? It sounds fancy, huh? It's something you could come up with to tell us about that DNA that's dead. That's what it is. All right, let's go to the chat. I can tell you one thing. I have started paying attention to my DoorDash delivery people if I order it. LOL, Stephanie. Nicolette Vella. I thought it was to do with those two since the beginning. Also, Kaden Young, what was he going to tell? David Stamler. Oh, it would definitely be military training. That's why my buddy told me there's no way a random person could do that. I agree, David. Shout out to David. Because guess what? They say it's a Rambo knife, but really somebody with Rambo training had to do it. Because a civilian would probably cut themselves with a Rambo knife. I know I would. The only thing I could do with a Rambo knife is cut myself and have to call somebody to help me. Because it's too much for me to handle. Okay? It's not a kitchen knife. It's not something to play with. So, I mean, whoever did this would have had, if they didn't have military training, they would have cut themselves so many times. And guess what? Brian Kohberger went to work the next day. And as much as his students bash him, if he had cuts anywhere on his face or his body, they would have been the first ones to tell him. And out of all the stuff his students said about him, nobody said he had cuts on his face or his hands. Nobody. Steve, let's see. Moscow police are very good at what they do, and it's not solving crimes. They're good at framing people. Shout out to Steve. I thought you were getting quiet there, Steve. You jumped back up on me. Okay. You'll wait. Tell it. Come on, she straight did something with something in her. Oh, my goodness. Tell it. What in the world? I saw it last night. I was like, wow, DoorDash. Stephanie, I was talking to some military friends familiar with K-Bar, and they said that knife would dull horribly after one unaliving. I've heard that too. That the K-Bar wouldn't be able to sustain 4, but I don't know about that. I can't say either way. Shout out to Stephanie. I can't say either way. I don't know. That's something I would really have to go to the books and ask and interview some people for real. I don't know. Jennifer S. I wouldn't go by anybody signing Brent case obituary. People said Brian signed it and ran with that, but Brian was in jail. People can be trolls. Shout out to Jennifer S. They're going to connect Brian to somebody one way or the other. And you know, Brent, that's just an easy one to connect because he's passed away. Rest in peace, Brent. So, of course, his name going to get dragged up and connected 50 times because he can't speak for himself. All right, so I was taking I got that. Kimberly Walker. Machete takes a lick and keeps on ticking. Sure does. Ask the Jamaican. Kimberly Walker, shout out to Kimberly. Yes, it does. A machete. That could have been the murder weapon. Just because a sheath was left and there were sharp-edged wounds doesn't mean a K-bar knife is the murder weapon. That's not proof written in stone. It's just more speculation. Something that was sold to us. It may have not one person could have been injured by a K-bar knife. Okay? Is this just to get K-bar knife stock up? Did anybody buy K-bar knife stock lately? Has anybody looked at the price of K-bar stock knife stock prices? Has it shot up lately? Is that the reason that sheath is there? So K-bar, people that make K-bar can make some money. Aren't they making enough off these wars? I mean, really. I noticed that about EB and DR in the law. Emma is on body cam in the house. Shout out to Ray Annette P. Yeah, we're hearing that. We're hearing that. We're hearing it. But let me go back to my document so I can change it. All right? Look at the highlighted portion. It is not material to the preparation of the defense. It is not intended for use by the state as evidence at trial. And none of the documentation being sought belongs to the defendant. This is the most ignorant thing I've seen in a court document. The documentation being sought, none of it belongs to the defendant. I mean, it's like a child wrote this. What you mean none of it belongs? None of it is going to be used at trial. So what's the purpose of it? For you to believe some kind of way they found DNA with BK's DNA. That lets you know they didn't. That lets you know they didn't. They'll go through all of this trouble with this genealogy tree that some FBI friend of his went online and did. And the reason they told us in the documents that it's the same type of test that the public uses is because internet hackers gonna go in and see that anyway. That all somebody did was pull up Ancestry.com. So you had to tell us that. But I'm just saying, the point of the matter is the DNA is dead. It's proven so many different ways. Okay? It's been fumbled all over the United States. And nobody gave the stamp to say this is Brian Kohberger's DNA. The only thing they came back with was a tip that it might be him from some tree somebody put together. We're not talking about biological evidence where somebody put this speck under a microscope, looked at his DNA profile and matched it. We're talking about a tree, names, age, address, opportunity. This is the stuff that you use for a genealogy tree. It's not biological. It's demographic. It's not biological, it's demographic. It's not biological. Biological is putting a specimen under a microscope, looking at the DNA profile, and then looking at the profile of the suspect in a lab. That's not what genealogy testing is. It's not even a test. It's just an investigation. It's digging around in records. It's not a test. It's digging around in it's a search. It says up here at the top of this screen, genetic genealogy testing and search. It's a search. It's not a test. A biological test means you put that specimen under a microscope and you investigate it from a biological perspective. That didn't happen. Not for this IgG, it did not. It was the genealogy test. It's a search. It's a search of records, age, date of birth, address, opportunity. God only knows what goes in that box. Opportunity? Those are not biological factors that's being used to identify the person. And then anybody can enter the data in these places, just like Wikipedia. So IgG is a Wikipedia search. It's just a Wikipedia. Anyone can enter and promote info. Anybody. You can go in there and change your address. Anybody. It's not reliable. It's garbage. So we need to take genealogical testing off the table as an ID for Brian Kohberger. And anybody that keeps insisting that they have that man's DNA, you ought to be ashamed. Because the defense has not proven not one day that they have that man's DNA. Not one day. All right, Sleuthy Goosey could have been given to Kaylee for her alleged stalker. The knife should scare anyone just to shake it at them. I agree. Shout out to Sleuthy. And guess what? I'm going to tell you something else about that. Are you giving me ideas? Anybody that comes over to that house could have left that knife. Anybody. We got people outside saying they just went through every room. We got people at the door that don't even know who lives there. Anybody could have left that sheaf. And then the girls could have kept it. Anybody could have left a knife over there and a sheaf, and the girls could have kept it. You know, after a party, people leave certain stuff. Some women leave their purse at the party, leave their little wallet with their ID. People leave stuff at the house. After they leave the party, when you clean up, you find a lot of stuff. Especially if 150 people are in a house at one time. Heck, 50 people. They leave stuff. Especially the women, they leave stuff. And Kaylee and Maddie or Xana or Dylan or Bethany could have said, look at this knife and sheep, let's keep it. Or Ethan could have kept it. You know, you find something like that, you're not going to call around and try to find out whose it is. You're going to keep it. Tell the truth now, fellas. Help me out. You have a party. You had 100 people coming in and out of your house. Somebody left a knife sheath with a knife, a K-bar knife with the military insignia on it, and ain't nobody calling you, asking you for it back. People leave stuff. Sex parties, annual members only. Carly, shout out, Carly. Shout out to Carly. All right. Axe under my bed ready. Tell it to Elle. I have my late father's axe under my bed ready, especially after this case. So it could have been the girls totally for protection, especially if drugs were involved. I agree, Tell it. That's why I said Sleuthie got a brain for that. I agree because, I mean, we haven't even explored that angle. I know I haven't. I'm just being honest. I haven't even brought that to the table. We haven't even explored that. It could have belonged to somebody in the house, especially one of the girls. And if they were selling drugs, anybody, they almost needed one in the house. It could have been Xana's, because, you know, Xana's kind of rough, you know. She's a little rough from the streets now, into rap and all that kind of stuff. She had a little street vibe. So I could see Xana with a K-bar knife. Jack S had a K-bar knife. Ray Annette, he did. And I believe if it was planted, he could have been the one they planted at the frame. They didn't like him. If a machete was used, David Stamler, if a machete was used, they're not telling the whole truth of the injuries that they really sustained. Shout out to David. We got big questions concerning the injuries. I know I do. Because I heard of gouges. I've heard that Ethan's, I don't mean to be gross, but I heard that Ethan's throat was slashed in the doorway of the room. That's what I heard. So I'm not sure what y'all heard, but I heard that Ethan's neck was slashed. He was in the doorway of the room, which is how I don't understand how Dylan got out of the house without seeing him. I heard that Xana was inside the room on the floor, and he was at the door. That's what I heard. So that's what I heard. So if he was at the door with his throat like that, and then Xana was in the bedroom, who does that mean was killed first? Ethan, and then they stepped over him? Huh? Could have traded for drugs. Who said that? Who said that? Could have traded for drugs. Yeah. Carly Miles, they played with knives. Shout out to Carly. We back on the knives. Back on the knives again. Y'all can't get... Y'all don't want to hear about the genealogy. You already know it's fake. All right. Linda Good, I did listen to that. She is slipping too. She slipped out a name on TNT, but I need to rewatch that part because I didn't catch it the first time. I just know she acted like, oh, let's see what Lillian said. If I can find it. What did Lillian say? I missed it. Oh, did anyone listen to the interview on TNT? The lady said that Kaylee and Maddie were talking about things they shouldn't. I'm scared for that lady. Shout out to Linda. Listen, we saw Kaylee and Maddie talking about stuff they shouldn't on camera at the corner club. So I mean, that's not really news. We heard them talking about something to where somebody said they're gonna get you for that. We saw with our own eyes they were talking about stuff they shouldn't. So to me, that's not news. We saw that with our own two eyes. You know, we saw that with our own two eyes. Kaylee and Maddie talking about something they shouldn't. We saw that with our own two eyes on the corner club and coming down Main Street. We saw that with our own two eyes. So how is that news? And I mean, don't get me started. That's why I don't really use information from people that call in the stuff unless they've been vetted by somebody that can vet them, because I don't know these people. And as much as I love to talk about the case, I could be calling in and giving my 2 cents. But unless the person has been vetted, I really don't jump into the information they give. I like to stay with what's on these documents, what we can see with our own two eyes, or what stuff that people told us that we can prove. Stuff we can prove or eliminate factually, theoretically, using an alternative and a null hypothesis, where we can eliminate with 95% confidence what the person just told us. Okay, let's go down Research Street for a minute. We want 95% confidence on what is being said. All right, 95% confidence. We don't want no false positives. And we don't want no information that's already been given to somebody else and it turned out not to be true. We want 5% confidence here. We want to be able to eliminate one of the hypotheses without changing the substance of what we measured. And when somebody's telling me what went on and it's 2 and 3rd party and they were there, or somebody they knew was there and all of this, great, love it. I talk to you off the record all day, but I'm not going to pass your information to my subs and I haven't vetted it. I might say, well, it hasn't been verified. I'll do that for news reports. I'll do that for stuff that's been printed. But just for somebody to call me and tell me, and then for me to just keep repeating what other people say and it hasn't been vetted, I'm not going to do that. Okay? There's nothing wrong with doing that because all this is for speculation and entertainment. But that's not my style, put it that way. It has to be vetted. Now, let's see. Gina Dishart, you are awesome in your passion. Go girl. Shout out to Gina for those kind words. Thank you so much. I appreciate those kind words. Thank you so much. All right. Yeah. Audrey K. Shout out to Audrey. That document admit the FBI used unverifiable info from the family tree. Let me give you a brain, Audrey. They sit here telling us we went online, somebody went online, used Ancestry or whatever is available to the public and came up with a tree. This has nothing to do with a biological specimen of DNA in a lab being tested against a biological profile taken from a swab from somebody's mouth. Or at the very worst, some touch DNA you say you got off of a sheep or out of somebody's trash. It has nothing to do with that. This is a whole different process. It's not a biological process. You're telling us you got this man DNA. You got him in custody. You should be able to prove that. And why haven't you talked about a swab in his cheek in January? They didn't even have to bring that up for him to be denied bail. I'm going to tell y'all something. Let me take a break. That man's rights are being violated. Because you can't hold somebody in jail on all this speculation and manufactured evidence. If you're sure he did it, I know a lot of policemen or law enforcement do stuff to make sure that the case will stick after they know for a fact the person did it and they need a little help. But they don't even know for a fact this guy did it. And they got him in there in jail, making a spectacle of his family. And if you think that's okay, then you let something happen to one of your kids. Let them come to your door and tell you your kid is arrested for quadruple, for just a double murder. Because somebody saw his eyebrows. And you got some DNA that matched the husband or somebody in the house that you got out the trash. Now you know you'll flip. All right? This is telling us, this that I have on the screen is telling us, in essence, that the IgG is garbage. It's not going to be used in trial. I said in one of the videos, I said, the DNA is dead. They threw that out. And somebody said, well, they didn't throw it out. Well, what do you call it when they say they're not going to use it in a trial? What do you call it? I call it that it's already thrown out. They threw it out. It was just to get them through the door. Now it's thrown out. This is starting to sound so Hollywood. Here's another thing that's going to trip you out. Let me change my screen. Okay, it's 10:21, and I still got the game ready if anybody wants to play the game at the end. Because y'all voted to do it at the end. A lot of people probably might not want to play, but I think I still got it ready if you all want to do that at the end of this live. All right, look on the screen, and I am changing this to the document where the defense is complaining about not having discovery on the white Elantra. All right, we're changing the topic now to the white Elantra. All right, so if anybody would like to take a bathroom break or whatever, somebody said that they were back. I think it was Apocalypse. Okay, shout out to the Apocalypse. I think Apocalypse was missing in action and came back to the live. So, let me stop there right quick. I meant to do it and forgot. All right. Okay, I'm passionate because I can't stand when people mistreat somebody. I can't stand when people do stuff to kids, small kids. I'm talking about anybody under the age of about 16, 15. I can't stand to hear. I mean, it's bad when it's somebody 15 and over, but to just mess with a young child, that just it boils my blood. It does. And so to wrongly convict somebody and people just, it's red flags all over the place, and you just pressing on with it. I mean, it's just wrong. And I'm not saying that from saying I know for a fact that Brian Kohberger is innocent or guilty. I'm saying that from the fact that a lot of this stuff that's been filed is a violation of the law. And so to have somebody in custody, denied bail, based on this type of paperwork, to me, it's just wrong. Whether he did it or not, convict him the right way. You should have to skip and scam and do all of that to convict somebody. If he killed 4 people, you should have no problem convicting him. If he's the one that did it, he should be in Moscow somewhere. Why don't you have a picture of this man somewhere in Moscow? And you saying he killed 4 people. You saying he stalked somebody in the house. You saying he was looking at them online. So if he was looking at their pictures online and he had their ID, why don't you have a picture of this man in Moscow somewhere? Don't even show us a picture of him at the house. Just show us a picture of Brian Kohberger in Moscow. Can you do that? Can you show us a picture of Brian Kohberger in Moscow at any time, at any place? I mean, something. How could you please? It's a search. That's exactly what it is, Carly. It's nothing biological. So the people running around saying there's biological evidence that he places him in that house, it's just not true. Huh? It's just not true. Okay, on the screen, look what we have here. It's a little blurry, so I'll read. Number 2, request 4. All footage provided to forensic examiners with FBI used to identify make and model of vehicle. All right, the state has responded by listing various page numbers and file names of recordings they have previously provided. However, they do not provide any reports generated, communications, and documents relating to the charge related to the change in year of the white Elantra or the CV or identity of the forensic examiner who identified this as the make and model of vehicle. This is a shame, really. This is really a shame. Let me find my other piece here. Okay, let me show you how to backtrack. Because I told you in my video, A Family Affair, I believe that's the one I told you, they're going to have to backtrack, and that's what they're doing. Now look at, here's both of them together. So you can't say I'm making this up. Can't say I'm making it up. Now, the first part, it says, request for all footage provided to forensic examiners with FBI used to identify make and model of vehicle. We're talking about the person that changed the year of the car from 11/13 to 11/18. That's what we're talking about. The forensic examiner. Now, look at the, I don't know why it's taking so long to load. Why is it taking so long to load? Yes, agree, Leslie. That's me, Jesse Bailey, drug lord. I saw his pics, and Emma looks like him for sure. Shout out to Melinda. I have to get with y'all on that conversation after I do some research, because I don't have enough information on them to make an intelligent conversation tonight. But I will, if that's what y'all want to talk about. Okay, it's your channel. All right, tell it to L. Anybody think it's odd in such a place like Moscow that the black dude, drug dealer, or Washington too, whatever, like he walked out of jail for those charges? I'm half so not racist, but just saying. Well, regardless of what color he is, anytime somebody walk out of jail early on a serious charge, they told on somebody. Shout out to Tell It to L. Regardless of what color he is, because rats are all the same color. All right? That's like going to jail for a gun charge or something serious where you know you're going to have to come up with some money and a lawyer. And then the next day you walk in the street. Well, we already know what that is. Shout out to Tell It to L. Is this thing on here yet? Okay, I'm ready. Okay, look on the screen. And you'll see here at the bottom, this is page 8 of the PCA. Page 8 of the PCA says the forensic examiner has approximately 35 years law enforcement experience with 12 years of the FBL. His specific training includes identifying unique characteristics of vehicles, and he uses a database that gives visual clues of vehicles across states to identify differences between vehicles. This is page 8 of the PCA. He's given us all these credentials. All these credentials. Oh, Rusty in the house. Shout out to Rusty. You know we got to give him a shout out. We have to. Shout out to Rusty. Jump right in, man. Jump right in. Welcome. Good to see you. All right, where was I? Oh, page 8. He was just singing this man's praises, saying how qualified he is to say that the car was 11 to 13 and didn't change it. This is the same one. And so now, look at number 2, request 4 of the new document. It says the identity of the forensic examiner who identified this as the make and model of vehicle. They don't want to give this man or woman's identity, but they were just praising the experience, 35 years of experience. Okay, well, if the forensic examiner had 35 years of law enforcement experience, what does that tell us? Huh? What does that tell us for a brain? If the forensic examiner had 35 years experience, identify... Oh my gosh, don't stop me laughing. If the forensic examiner had 35 years experience identifying cars and said it was 11 by 13, oh, I see a super sticker. Gene Desart, fantastic analysis. Shout out to Gina. Thank you, Gina. Shout out to Gina for $5 super sticker. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. Much love. All right, listen. If the examiner had if the examiner had 35 years of experience identifying cars and said it was 11 to 13, then 9 times out of 10, no matter what they change it to, it probably was 11, 13. He probably knew what he was talking about. 35 years of experience. He knew what he was talking about the first time. We should have been looking for 11, 13 and still should be looking for 1. 2011 to 2013. That's what it was. This person had 35 years experience. He told us this. Opie told us this himself. He told us this himself. Lev Louis. Recall reports kept stating it's complex case. Why? If they had the guy, why so complex about it? That's what I said. Shout out to Lev Louis. Shout out, because if he was so sloppy, this Kohberger, why are they having such a time? And why they gotta hide all of their documentation? If he was so sloppy and this is so complex. That's what I want to know. Because you're telling us 2 or 3 different things. Oh my God, another super sticker. AF, Amy. They said they have DNA on Maddie's nightgown. What? Shout out to AF. Thank you so much for a $10 super sticker. Thank you so much. And what is this? Has this been confirmed or... Because I think I did hear it. But, you know, that's bad news if it is. I mean, that's bad news if it... Really bad news. Oh, Jennifer S. said that is a different case. AF, they were referencing the Queen case, the Green case. Okay, shout out Jennifer S. for clarification, because I was getting ready to say, what? This is new to me. Somebody's in big trouble. Somebody's in big trouble. All right, throw out the sheep DNA and use the nightgown DNA. Yeah. They could do that. You sell it. Rusty, shout out to Rusty with the shirt. I don't know if you're asking me about the shirts. Oh, okay. Because the merch store is under construction right now. Turns out Google is very picky when setting up these types of things. And also, after our meeting with the members, I decided to change a product because we had some brainstorming in the members only live. Man, we came up with some humongous ideas. Humongous ideas. All right, where were we? All right, the forensic examiner, we're not allowed to know who he is now. Another sticker, AF, $10, but when did they find it? Shout out to AF, you must be rich. Thank you so much for another $10 sticker. Thank you so much. Let me put my shout out up here. Thank you so much to all of you who have given to the channel. Thank you so much. B. Franklin, a nightgown. What is this, 1935? Shout out to B. Franklin. I don't think I've given you a shout out. Where you been? You must have snuck out and snuck back in. All right. What? Another $10? No, but when did they find it? I got that. All right. Denny, Maddie's nightgown wasn't used in the green case. Shout out to Denny. I think we got this straight with the nightgown. I didn't know anything about it. Shout out. Another super sticker from Star Sorcerer. Wow. Y'all big timers. Y'all are big timers. Shout out to Star Sorcerer. And you are so very welcome. Shout out to Star Sorcerer. Oh, y'all. Hold on. I can't keep up with you. Okay, that's Star Sorcerer. $10 super sticker. And Chicanti was gifted a membership by Stephanie Eliza. Stephanie is gifting memberships again. Shout out to Stephanie for gifting memberships. Thank you. And it is for Chicanti. All right, another new member. You deserve it. You are doing great. Shout out to Tell It to L. Okay, I got a big important question. Cause some people do that before they leave. All right, Tell It to L. Where's Robin tonight? Anybody heard from Robin? Is she all right? Is Robin? Anybody know Robin personally? Communicate with her like day to day? I don't know my password offhand. Hold on, Rusty. Let me find. This thing is going so fast. Okay, yes, the merchandise shop will be back up, hopefully in just a day or two, at the most, a few days. But I think they were right, actually. Some of the stuff needed to be straightened out, so when you order, it'll be seamless. I don't want any complications. When you order merch, I want you to get it as fast as you can with no bumps in the road. So, I mean, they're right about some things. And so we're going to get that merch back up. But I'm telling you, my board members, my members, they came up with some awesome things for the channel in the members only meeting. And so I know if we got more members coming, hey, we can go nowhere but up because we had powerful, just with us few, I think it was like 7 or 8 of us. Look what we came up with. So much. All right. So definitely consider being a member. All right. Guys, come on in. If you haven't joined yet, it's still an opportunity. All right. Where are we? Okay, this is what I want to know. I want to take a vote. Anybody want to play the game tonight? Because honestly, the only person that has really played the game out of this group is Arjucate. It's the Idaho 4 game to show how much you know about the case. So you can put yes or no in the chat whether or not you want to play the game. I would like for you to put in the chat whether or not you want to play the game. And if not, we'll keep going. We'll do another case. We'll do another point on the case. Okay, we got 1 yes for Stephanie, 1 for Star Sourcer. Hey, that's 2 members said yes. They're rocking the boat. All right. I'm gonna see if I can just go ahead and get us going here then. Carly, come on now. Carly, come on. We gotta have some fun right quick. It's gonna be quick, Carly. All right, now let me get my browser up here. That's the wrong one. All right, hold on just 1 second. I got you right here. Okay, this is the one, Idaho. These are all Idaho 4 questions. See how much you know. You claim you're a true crime sleuth? Let's find out. Let's find out. Let's find out. I got it running right here. All right, it should be coming up. Okay, it should be coming up. Oh, I gotta log in and all of that. All right, well, I can still do it. You can see me doing it. Put it that way. All right. Uh-oh. I didn't know I had to have my password all over again. Okay, hold on just 1 minute. I'll log in with Google. Oh, that's what it is. Okay, hopefully you have your own device. Maybe you have an extra device where you can put in a code for the game. And if you don't have an extra device, you can still play. It's loading the pin. Uh-oh. I shouldn't have done that. Okay, can you see? Well, it says the video is private. We played before. All right. I'm gonna have to start it again. All right, y'all chit chat right quick while I get this. While I get this. It's not private. Or just go to Kahoot. All right, let's see what's going on here. All right, hello, self-aware. Good to see you. All right. Now let's see. I'm gonna have to take 1 second. No, it's not good night. I'm loading the game. I'm showing the pin. I'm trying to, they said it was private the last time. And so now it's loading. You should be able to see it on your screen. Okay, it should be coming to your screen right now. YouTube video player says it's private. Let me see if I can make it unprivate. This video is not private. Well, we did it before. I don't see why we can't do it again. All right, well, I'm gonna see if it comes up. If not, we can go. Yeah, I'm gonna try to press. I try to press it. I'm gonna let it load all the way first. Oh, you know what? It might be because I'm in incognito mode. That might be it. It might. Let me get out of incognito mode. I bet you. That might be it, because we didn't have that problem before. I believe that's it. I was in incognito mode. All right, there's gonna be another 3-minute wait. Yeah, I'm just trying to get it where you all can see it. That's what it is. It's that incognito mode, I bet you. Just give me 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes. Please, please, please. Two more minutes. Please, please, please. I believe that incognito is the problem. Okay, I'm in without the cover. Start the game. Put it in a browser. And let's keep our fingers crossed that that was a problem. All right. Here's our last chance for romance. Oh, who said good night? No, self-aware. No, wait, no, no. All right, if it does, if this should work this time. Still private. Is it? Well, I'm still in incognito mode in YouTube. Is there any way to get out of incognito mode? Yes, close incognito. Now try it. All right, now try it. All right, this is the final attempt. God bless you for your patience. I really want to play. All right, this is the last attempt. Video is private. That's it. I'm gonna have to contact YouTube. Maybe they won't let us do it anymore. They may not let us do it anymore because we played before and it didn't say it was private. All right, I'm gonna give you the pen and then y'all can play without the screen. That's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna give you the pen. Who said that? You're right. I'm gonna just give you the pen. The pen is 974-0733. Nine seven four 0733. That's the pin. Can y'all hear me? What just happened here? Can't even pull it up. That's it. That's gonna do it. Well, the heck? Absolutely. Did I get cut out? Did I get cut out? I'm trying to go back in. This is bad. Let me get my phone. Lord have mercy. I didn't get cut off on my own show. This is a shame. It better still be sitting in there. I don't know what happened to my browser. Get into my phone. Can anybody hear me? I'm locked out of my own chat. This is bad. Okay, can anybody hear me? Can you hear me? I got locked out of my own live. I'm coming back, please. Okay, so, oh, that's it? That's not it? Okay, I'm back. I think, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. I tried to start a game and ended up in Timbuktu. All right, this is bad. Okay, well, clearly we won't be playing. Clearly we won't be playing a game. Oh my God, I can see the names in there. Wait, let me go back. I can see your names in the game. After all of that, I'm in the wrong. Okay, listen. If it's like that, this is this is the code. I'm gonna put it in the chat. 423-1045. I didn't know it was showing up. Wow. 423-1045. Okay, try this one. 423-1045. I can see that one. Wait. No. Let me press start. Okay, can y'all see where I press start? I started the game. It worked. It worked. It worked. The game is starting. The game is starting. Don't change anything. Okay. Give it a minute to come back on your screen because I clicked play. It's working. Yeah, it's working. It's working. Okay, stop giving the answers. B. Franklin. Stop giving the answers. Okay. All right, L, star. Where's everybody else? All right, this is number 2. Yeah, you can answer in the chat. All right, the game is rolling. I think we got at least 2 people still in there playing. Star and Star Sorcerer and somebody else is still playing. I see 4 people, 4 answers. All right. All right, we got 3 people scoring. L, Stephanie, and Star. Star Sorcerer. All right, we are on question what? Okay, we're missing an answer. All right. Star's in the lead now. Star's in the lead now. Then we have Stephanie E and then L. How are y'all doing this? Putting it in the chat. Somebody's giving answers. I saw somebody say red triangle or something. I bet it's B. Franklin. All right, so we got 3 answers. We can skip. All right, what's up? All right. Okay, we got Denny and Audrey on here now. We got Star first, Stephanie in second place, L, Denny, and then Audrey. All right, we're still waiting on 2 answers. All right. Oh, we got 5 people playing. Oh, okay. How many we got playing in the chat? All right. All right. We still have the same arrangement as far as the scoreboard. We still have the same layout. All right, I believe we got it. Oh, we got L rising through the ranks. All right. Oh, we got Audrey moving up to second place. Okay, we're on number 8. All right. Let's see. We caught somebody. All right, so we got Stephanie in the lead. Detailed speculation about Kohberger's movements during the murders are in what document? The search warrant, discovery motion, probable cause affidavit, or News Nation broadcast? All right. Still the same setup. Which Idaho 4 victim was one of 3, a triplet? All right. Oh, we caught somebody. Stephanie in the lead. Brady Giglio is a prestigious award for outstanding law enforcement officers. True or false? All right. And we had the same setup. And with Stephanie E has a streak with 3 correct answers in a row. Woo! Go, Stephanie. Carl Canada is associated with which 2 people? Which 2 people? Come on, we're missing two people. Think long and you think wrong. What we got? What we got? All right. All right. Now, Star has moved up to second place. We are number 13. Moscow Police Department issued how many AT&T search warrants? Oh, we got a quick answer. All right. We got the same setup. Same setup. Stephanie E. Star number 2. Who's number 3? Audrey. MPD reported a suspect vehicle past 1122 King Road how many times prior to the murders? MPD reported a suspect vehicle past 1122 how many times? Oh, all right. Lycurgus. Oh, shout out to Lycurgus and Denny. We got to move. Oh, they trying to make a move on you, Stephanie. Brian Kohberger and his father were stopped by police in which state? What type of forensic evidence was found in front of Dylan's bedroom? A fingerprint, a footprint, a palm print, a face print. Oh, everybody knew. Okay, we got Stephanie Starr, Audrey, Lycurgus, and Denny. The genealogy DNA retrieved from the trash matched which person? Corporal Gunderson, Eden Harsh, Michael Kohberger, or Quinn Kelly? Who was planning to tour Europe in upcoming months? Who is planning to tour Europe in upcoming months? Oh, we got Arjun moving in on Steph. Number 2, L coming in under Lycurgus. Okay, all right. Brent Kopaka lived in Moscow and worked in Pullman. True or false? Brent Kopaka lived in Moscow and worked in Pullman. True or false? Got everybody? Oh, Audrey has the highest answer streak of 3. Audrey's on fire. She come for you, Stephanie. Who was subpoenaed by Brian Kohberger? Who was subpoenaed by Brian Kohberger? All right. Oh, everybody got the scoop on that, All right. Audrey's on fire. There's only 4 questions left. So if you're running behind, you got to catch up right now. Who shared a dog with Kaylee? Who shared? All right, we still got the same lineup. The knife sheet was documented as being near which of the students? 2 answers. All right. Okay, Elle and Lycurgus fighting it out. Stephanie's still trying to hold Audrey off. Her father changed her locks just prior to the murders. All right, same lineup. Oh, L has the highest answer streak of 6. L is on fire. The preliminary hearing for Brian Kohberger was set for July 26, 2023. True or false? The preliminary hearing for Brian Kohberger was set for July 26, 2023. True or false? Oh, this is the last question. L is on a streak of 7. L is on fire. Okay, Cargus, this is your last question. Come on, Star Sorcerer. The night sheaf could belong to everyone except. All right, the night sheaf could belong to everyone except. Okay. Yeah, Cara Canoda never been to the house. Since her daughter was in school, she had never been there. So she couldn't have left something because she never came to check her daughter. She didn't leave anything. Okay, let's see. Here's our podium. That's right, that's right. Third place, we got Star. Second place, RG Cates. And we got Stephanie Elizar. Okay, all right. Okay, these are the winners. These are our winners. All right. Now listen. All right, we're going to cut it short. All right, let's see if I can stop it. Everybody all right? All right, let's see. Can y'all still hear me? Can y'all still hear me? All right. Thank you, Star Sorcerer. Gifted a membership. Thank you. Thank you so much. Back to reality. Thank you so much. Oh, boy, I enjoyed myself. Yeah, I enjoyed myself. Now, we had our winners, and so next time we'll have probably some different questions. All right, that's beautiful. Okay, way to go, Stephanie. Audrey Case, you guys. All right, see, everybody should have got in. It would have been really, really tough competition. Would have been some tough competition. All right, it is 11:30. It's after 11:30. And so I'm going to end this live, and I'm going to leave the chat open for about 5 minutes. And at 11:38, I'm going to close it. And I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you for spending time, for super chat, stickers, for gifting members. Thank you. Thank you for coming and spending your time. I think we covered a lot of good ground tonight. And I had a good time. The game started a little late, but we hung in there, right? All right. Yeah, we got some nice new people to come in and spend time with us. And so I'm going to say good night to you all. Thank you so much. And I'm going to cut the stream at 11:38.